9.5 FM, affiliates across Ghana's 16 regions. We are on Volta Premier in Ho, ATL FM in Cape Coast, Dreams FM in Bolgatanga. We are live on X Spaces. We are on Facebook. We are on myjoyonline.com. The midday news is sponsored by Petrol Sol, your clean fuel in full quantity. Petrol Sol is always a delightful experience, and also brought to you by Duro Plus Ghana Limited, producers of quality PVC and HDPE pipes and water tank. We are the only water storage tank with a level indicator. Where Duro Plus goes, water always flows. This afternoon, near fisticuff in Parliament between Asin North MP Kennedy Ejapong and Botiano Amanfrom MP Sylvester Mensah. What could have led to this near showdown? Stay with me for a blow-by-blow account. Also in Parliament, Tamale South MP Haruna Idrisu demands urgent action to address the severe water shortage in the Tamale metropolis.
Because many of the communities have not even seen pipe-borne water in the last few years. In some areas for 2 years, no pipe flowing.
Also this afternoon, calls for safety of journalists intensifies as latest research shows nearly 40% have experienced attacks and double of that number are practicing in fear.
At least some 38% of those who have been sampled had experienced attacks in the line of work. An even bigger number, nearly 70% of those sampled, said they were aware of colleagues who had experienced attacks.
Also, Ministry of Information backs the GJ's move to take stringent measures in protecting members.
If we consistently hold the police and the judicial service accountable, I know the IGP is interested, I know the Chief Justice is interested, we'll get to that point where no police command or police office play hanky-panky with these reports.
Also this afternoon, females from the Savannah region are the most fertile and their counterparts in the Greater Accra region are the least fertile. Details from the Ghana Demographic Report on Fertility and Family Planning, which reviews an alarming rate of childbirth in rural areas. But what exactly is accounting for this?
People who have no education, so no assignment, no workload, no burning of the midnight oil, so all activities are turned towards the other. Therefore, they produce more.
Details as more educated people are pushing their childbirth to their 40s.
Ghana is pushing to late fertility, so we are delaying our fertility of having the much bulk of us giving birth very early in the life cycle.
Do stay for details. We have sports.
President Akufo-Addo commissions the Borteman Sports Complex and declares Ghana ready to host the Africa Games.
And much later, I'll take you to the KNUST campus as administrative work and other academic activities return to normalcy after the return of TEU members from their industrial action. That and more in this afternoon's edition of the Midday News. I am Emefa Apau, and this is your home of independent, fearless and credible journalism. Please do stay on for details. Many thanks for your company once again. Let's start from Parliament, and there was a near fisticuff between Asin North MP Kennedy Ejapong and his colleague Botiano Amanfrom MP Sylvester Mensah, and this happened on the floor of the House while proceeding was going on. It took Deputy Majority Leader Alexander Afenyo-Markin to take Sylvester Mensah out of the chamber for some calm to return. Let me bring you the latest in terms of the blow-by-blow account on what led to this near showdown. And Parliamentary Affairs correspondent Kweku Asante joins us on the line. Kweku, what happened?
I'm afraid it was only Alexander Afenyo-Markin that prevented the two MPs from trading blows, and they were basically furious at each other, exchanging words. The MP for Botiano English Amanfrom had come to leadership to say something to another MP and was going out, and then Kennedy Ejapong accosted him, went to him, muttered some words to each other, and then Kennedy Ejapong followed the Botiano English Amanfrom MP, tried to hold his shirt, turn him back. The Botiano English Amanfrom MP will not budge. He was still going out, and Kennedy Ejapong was still chasing him, literally exchanging words with him. It was then that the leadership of the House really knew that something bad could really happen if they did not intervene. So Alexander Afenyo-Markin got out from his chair and actually went straight to where that exchange was happening, tried to stand in between the two men and tried to calm them down. But clearly, Kennedy Ejapong would not listen to anybody, and he was still chasing after the Botiano English Amanfrom MP. So the Deputy Majority Leader decided that the best option was to walk out Slightete and ensure that Kennedy Ejapong will be calm. Kennedy Ejapong later returned to his seat. He was spoken to by some senior MPs. He was still exchanging words. In fact, some of the words he was speaking were so loud, we could hear it from the press gallery. But the Okaikwe Central MP tried to calm him down. Eventually, he calmed down, and he eventually left the chamber. The information we are picking is this has to do with some money between the two men, and that Sly Tete will have to give Kenneth Japan some money. Kenneth Japan goes to him to ask for that amount of money, and Sly Tete tells him that if he thinks he owes him, he should take him to court, and that this is not the avenue to come and ask him for the money. And this is something that infuriated Kenneth Japan so much that he nearly threw his hands, but for the intervention of the deputy majority leader. And I can just see Kenneth Japan's car right now. He has just taken his seat in his car and is going out of parliament.
I'm sure, as curious as you are, you must have been finding out how much money is involved here.
Well, the source will not tell me the amount, but tells me that it's huge, and that for Kenneth Japan to go after that money and not want to let it go, don't want to let it slip, means that it's something huge. It might have been money involved in the political campaign season that we've just seen, right from the flag bearership race up to the MPP parliamentary primary. But Kenneth Japan is assuring that he will definitely go after the member of parliament for Botana English amount from and get whatever is due from him. And what happened on the floor of the house is just the start of the show.
But where's Sly now as we speak?
Sly was walked out of the chamber. He has not returned to the floor. The deputy majority leader stayed with him for some time outside of the house. Later on, I saw him walk out from where the speakership normally walks in. I tried to go to him to try and have a word with him. He would not talk to anybody, but he has not returned to the floor of the house. It is expected that he will come later on because Kenneth Japan has just driven out of parliament. But for Sly Tete, it's expected that he will come in later, and we are still trying to get a word from at least leadership of the house because the sitting was still proceeding. The deputy speaker, Joseph Osewusu, was the one presiding. It nearly caused some melee because the Asokwa MP was on the floor making a statement, and she was a bit distracted, but they did not want what was happening to go on the record. So they actually proceeded with business as though everything was usual, but there were near fisticuffs right in the middle of the house.
Well, away from that showdown, though, Kweku, what else is happening on the floor of Parliament?
Well, Haruna Idrisi is also furious. Of course, he's not threatening to beat up anybody on the floor of the house, but he's asking government to move in immediately to restore water in Tamale. He says there's acute water shortage there happening immediately now.
Or whether through Kotonle or Palsi or Sakasaka or Sogna Hill or Sabonjira, the problem remains the same. And our people are seen carrying what is popularly known as the Ufuo gallons in search for water. Mr. Speaker, many of the communities have not even seen pipe-borne water in the last few years. In some areas for 2 years, no pipe flowing. And many of the rural areas, such as Toto, Yapala, Zoo, Nantonzo, Kappa, have to rely on dam water in order to be able to access potable water. Mr. Speaker, almost all the Tamale water projects have suffered delays.
And Kweku, was there a response from the sector minister?
Well, the minister herself has not been in the floor. The deputy is also not around. They are all MPs, but they are not around currently. But a former deputy works and housing, the works minister, something like him, who knows a little bit in terms of how this water situation works, is imploring the National Security Ministry and the Works and Housing Ministry to go there with tankers to supply the community.
And just before I let you off, Kweku, really, what else is up for business in Parliament today?
We expect that there will be some questions for the Minister for Environment, Science and Technology. There's also been a statement on girl-child education in sciences. But also we expect that there will be some formal understanding of what exactly the investigation into the SMO contract that happened in the last meeting is going to go, and also that investigation that was ordered into the Akoso Modern Spirit. We expect that the Speaker will give some clear guidelines on how all that will happen. He is not currently in the chair, and we expect that he will take that in the next hour or so.
That's Parliamentary Affairs correspondent Kweku Asante. Now let's focus on the media and the fight to keep journalists safe rages as stakeholders increase calls for a concerted effort between the Ghana Journalists Association (GJA) and law enforcement agencies to beef up protection. Recent attacks on journalists at NPP parliamentary primary have necessitated that particular call, but more pressing is the startling findings from the University of Ghana School of Communications 2023 survey revealing that a staggering 40% of journalists are falling victim to attacks while carrying out their duties. Well, that's not all. Twice that number are living in fear as they navigate their watchdog roles in society. Senior lecturer at the Communication School, Dr. Abena Enimwa Yeboah Benning, expresses concern as she touches on solutions to curb the plague.
Chapter on the safety of journalists reported that at least some 38% of those who had been sampled had experienced attacks in the line of work. An even bigger number, nearly 70% of those sampled, said they were aware of colleagues who had experienced attacks in the line of work. Altogether, therefore, quite a good number of the journalists sampled expressed feelings of insecurity. They generally felt unsafe for doing the work of journalists in the country. If we remember these discussions, then perhaps we would see why we are where we are. Report after report has suggested that the rates of attacks on journalists for doing their work, the rates are increasing.
Well, let's hear some real stories about attacks on journalists. First, editor of modernghana.com, Emmanuel Ajafa Bugri shares his experience.
So on the day they came, in fact, I was in my office and they came. There were 5 people, 2 police officers with 3 national security personnel, and then ordered me to stand up. So I was so surprised that somebody could walk into your office and order you to stand. Became a bit violent and all that. The first thing they did was that they took my laptop on the desk, my phones and my tablets. That was the first thing they took. And they ordered me to step out. So I followed them. We stepped into the yard. Then I asked them, what is the meaning of this? And they said they are national security officers and they'll be asked to come and pick me for interrogation. Then I said, okay, for what? And they said, if I get there, I would know. So we went and they pushed us into a black van, covered our heads with a black polythene bag. And I asked them why. They said they didn't want us to know where they were taking us. So in about 30 minutes, we were in the building. So whilst there, the polythene was still on, wrapped around my head. It took about 20 to 30 minutes before they came and they removed it.
Now, my colleague Emmanuel Ante also shares his story. Well, we'll get to hear that shortly, but the Information Minister, Kojo Oppong-Nkrumah, who was a former journalist, backs the GJ's decision. Before we hear from the Information Minister, listen to Emmanuel Ante.
So on that fateful day, I was assigned to go and cover some disturbances at the NPP headquarters. Then I realized that was the time they were also demonstrating at the Obra circle. I got there, we were capturing, I was just taking shots of what was happening. And then all of a sudden, one of the demonstrators just started pointing finger at me. That's in Chi. I know this guy. The moment he said that, now they started, they turned to me and then they started chasing me out. And they were wielding these placards and other things, and they were just hitting me with it. I was running away. Even the other media houses, the Metro TV and then TV3, were also started running. For them, they had their cars close by.
Well, that's my colleague Emmanuel Ante. Now, you can hear from Information Minister Kojo Oppong-Nkrumah on PM Express last night. Himself, a former journalist, is backing the GJ's decision to block politicians who attack journalists while urging the association to engage the police and the judiciary as well in getting justice for victims.
I believe that if we consistently hold the police and the judicial service accountable, I know the IGP is interested, I know the Chief Justice is interested, we'll get to that point where no police command or police office can then, play hanky-panky with these reports as they come to them. So, simply put, yes, I 100% support this as a tool. It will not be effective, but at least it will draw full attention. But what we need to do is to have some clear guidelines on when it is deployed to avoid gray areas. And then we secondly have to ensure that the officers of state who can deal with it, i.e. the police and the judicial service, are held accountable.
Information Minister Kojo Oppong-Nkrumah. Let me take you to the Northeast region now, where one person has been pronounced dead and 8 others, including a 5-year-old child, are battling for their lives at the Tamale Teaching Hospital following a robbery incident last night in Wale Wale. The attack was said to have been carried out by 3 armed men who arrived on motorbikes and opened fire at a busy bus station near the Nalerugu junction before targeting a mobile money vendor. Correspondent Ilya Sutanko is following up on that for us. As and when we get him, we'll bring you details of of that. But I'll take you to the Ashanti region now, where administrative works and other academic activities are back in full operation on the Kwame Nkrumah University of Science and Technology campus after the Senior Staff Association of Public Universities called off its industrial action, while laboratories and other teaching facilities in the school, which were shut for close to 2 weeks, were now accessible to students pursuing science-related programs for practical sessions. Well, meanwhile, the Tertiary Education Workers Union of Ghana, TUGH, has also refused a strike despite the government meeting some of their demands. My colleague Emmanuel Bright Kweku is on campus at the KNUST campus and joins us on the line with updates on this. Emmanuel, we understand classes are in full session now. Tell us more.
All right, so MFA, when you come to the KNUST campus, activities regarding academic work is in session. Right now, I can see some students coming out of the lecture halls. And in fact, the Senior Staff Association strike, some workers at the laboratories, they were not working 2 weeks ago. But now, when I monitored some of the laboratories, I can see that the students are back in classroom having the practical session. That's for those reading health and science-related programs on campus. But with regard to the tertiary education workers, which comprises usually of the security and sanitation staff over here, I've monitored and I've seen the security men, some of them at post. But with regards to sanitation, when I monitor some of the lecture halls or even some of the colleges around, I realized there's a bit of a pile of garbage at some of the places. That is to say that these janitorial services have not been offered as of now. So, MFA, this is what is currently happening on the KNUST campus.
And you've been interacting with TUGH executives and they've refused to call off their strike just yet, right?
Yes, please. We've been interacting with Charles Arthur, who tells us that until their demands are actually met, some of the conditions have actually been met, but until they are fully met, they are not calling off the strike. But we are hoping that in the coming days, something would improve, and then subsequently these students could not reel under this current impact.
Well, that's my colleague Emmanuel Bright Kweku there. Will stay a while longer in the Ashanti region, and the Electricity Company of Ghana has attributed recent power cuts in the region to what it terms the restoration of redundancy in power distribution. Now, part of the region have in the past few days experienced intermittent power outages, with some areas plunged into darkness for nearly 12 hours. Well, this situation is adversely impacting some businesses and livelihoods. My colleague Nana Boachi Dankwaye Adam has more in this report.
Since Friday, major parts of the Ashanti region, especially the regional capital, Kumasi, have been experiencing intermittent power cuts. The development over the weekend left some residents perturbed. Some residents who spoke to Joy News expressed their worry about the intermittent power cuts and its impact on their businesses.
It has been worse. It has been worse for me, especially my work, because I do put my things in the fridge before I realize it will get spoiled. So the doing so is not easy for us these days, especially those who are sewing the same dresses. They are also suffering a lot. My fish, my sausage, my stew, and my vegetables, because the heat, they cannot contain it. Especially this month, it has been worse. The whole of this week, it's continuous. Even this pastor who is preaching over there, since last week, has not been able to preach because of light out. He will come and go back. He will be here about 5:30. Then he will not be able to preach. He will pack his speakers and go out.
Basa na yejina basa because kana na area bibia. They say when na so bona yedum light. And no say me say nka me yi matare meto.
The recent power cuts has been affecting my business. I could not even open my shop due to the power cuts yesterday. Government must do something about this.
Na eya we nti na me okaka no yedum say no say yedum membie na asho ahanta me ntimi mgeduma no ntimi ntrase nti dum so de ha kakra
93 days me ne me ma nyina sam fom e wa abonte ntontomo wiyen omudum light 12 o'clock 93 days omo anso amade e chenwe.
3 days ago, I slept without light. My children and I slept outside our house. The issue is worrying. We do not know why we have to sleep in darkness without any notice. Government must set up. But the Ashanti South ECG General Manager, Engineer Frederick Kwabena says the issues are internal and not from Gridco or their power generators.
But then again, we would also want to disabuse everybody's minds of the fact that these are not issues that are coming from either Gridco or any generational shortfall. These are internal ECG issues.
Well, we'll take a quick break here on the Midday News live on Joy 99.7 FM in Accra, in Kumasi on Love 99.5 FM affiliate across Ghana's 16 regions. The Midday News, as always, is sponsored by Petrosol, your clean fuel in full quantity. Petrosol is always a delightful experience. Also brought to you by Duroplus Ghana Limited, producers of quality PVC and HDP pipes and water tank. Where Duroplus goes, water always flows. Also this afternoon, we've been talking about an undisclosed but huge sum of money that led to a near fisticuff in Parliament between Asin North MP Kennedy Ohenia Japon and Botiano Amam from MP Sylvester Mensah. We'll return from the break with sports, and also females from the Savannah region are the most fertile, and their counterpart in the Greater Accra region are the least. And details are from the Ghana Demographic Report on Fertility and Family Planning, which reviews an alarming rate of childbirth in rural areas.
People who have no education, so no assignment, no workload, no burning of the midnight oil, so all activities are turned towards the other. Therefore, they produce more.
We have details of that and more. Do stay with us.
When budgets are tight and money difficult to come by, you want to be sure you get the best value for your money. These are not times to be spending money fixing expensive engine problems because of cheap fuel and lubricants. Drive to a Petrosol station today and buy your quality fuel and lubricants, and rest assured of fuel that lasts long and lubricants that prevent expensive engine problems. Hear the sound. Petrosol, clean fuel in full quantity.
And with all the conviction and excitement in his heart, he goes on his knees, holding out the ring, and pops up the question, "Will you marry me?" And there she goes, handing him her hand, while sweetly responding, "Yes, I will." This will be the story of that lucky couple who will initiate their forever journey come the 14th of February in the Proposal on Joy Valentine promo. It will be a night of love, sweet melodies, beauty, pleasure, affection, loads of giveaways, and many surprises. Everything will be on the house. If you wish to join us on the 14th with your partner, please reserve a seat by sending your names to 055-1111-997 and hashtag Valentine on Joy. We will get back to you with your registration code. If you also wish to do something special for your partner that night, please let us know and we will make it happen for you. Motorola Ghana will be giving out some sleek phones and souvenirs, while Achadie has some beautiful love hampers to give away. The Proposal on Joy FM is brought to you by Motorola Ghana and supported by Labadi Beach Hotel, Proposal GH, and Achadie Fier. The Proposal on Joy. Love is indeed beautiful.
Thanks for staying with us. Let's do sports.
Thank you very much, MFI. Quite an interesting story. Good news, of course, because it seems Ghana is ready to host the Africa Games because the President, Akufo-Addo, he has commissioned the Botiban Sports Complex for the upcoming competition. Now, the facility, constructed at a cost of $145 million, includes 2 multi-purpose halls, a tennis mini stadium, an aquatic center, and, of course, a 6-lane athletic track.
Today, our country can be proud of the massive sporting infrastructure we have put in place for the Games, which will be a huge legacy for the country. In its 57 years of existence, this is the first time that Ghana is hosting the Games. Despite Ghana being under the leadership of our first president, Kwame Nkrumah, a founding member of the African Games. The question is, why has Ghana not hosted the African Games until now? The answer is simple. There is a time for everything, and this is our time.
Well, that's President Akufo-Addo, and the competition starts on March 8th.
Okay. Well, tomorrow is Valentine's Day. Do you have a Valentine?
No.
Better. Well, get out of here. That's Mubarak with the latest from the world of sports. Now, females in the Savannah region of Ghana are the most fertile for childbirth, accounting for 5.8% of the total fertility rate in the country. The Greater Accra region is the least with 2.9%. Well, this is containing the latest Ghana demographic report on fertility and family planning released by the Ghana Statistical Service. Well, the same report also identified the Savannah, Northeast and the OT regions for having uncontrolled childbirth during a period under review. Deputy Government Statistician Dr. Faustina Frimpong-Angwa says the results offer policymakers raw data for effective policy planning and implementation.
From the rural areas and urban areas, the urban, as currently, is 3.2 children, and then the rural areas is almost 5 children. That's what is pushing it to the 3.9. Who are those contributing? Somebody says Savannah. And so when you look across the country, my region, the Savannah they mentioned, is topping 5.8. And you see the Northeast, Northern, and Savannah. Remember, it used to be one region. And now, when they have just been hived off, we see that Northeast was the one maybe previously shooting Northern region fertility to go up there. But still, the rest are not doing well. 5.6 is one child bigger than that of the Northern region. And so, Ghana Health Service, if you can look at my people, Savannah, Northern, Northeast, OT area there, if you push their figure down by 1 or 2, drastically, the rate across the country will push down.
Well, it's also emerging that more and more educated women are pushing their childbirth to their 40s.
And again, good news for Ghana. It seems that within Ghana, our trend, the hip, is on 25 to 29. And so what we call is the late fertility. Early fertility is when you see it occurring at 20 to 24. And then broad is when it spreads from 24 even up to 34. And by age 40, people are wrapping up. And then the 45 plus them, sometimes it's a pension baby, it's a mistake, or somebody who throughout their life has never had a child and therefore will go all length to be able to get one. And so Ghana is pushing to late fertility. So we are delaying our fertility of having the much bulk of us giving birth very early in the life cycle.
That's a Deputy Government Statistician, Dr. Faustina Frimpong-Angwa. Well, you want to stay with us for more of the details of the statement, also on myjoyonline.com. Now, the culture of teenage girls trading sex for fish in coastal community of Halfasini in the Jomoro district of Western Region is commonplace. The girls beg for fish during substantial catch and return sexual favor as payment to the fisher folks. It's termed as fish for sex in the local community. Joy News, Stanley Nibleu has more.
Halfasini is one of 26 coastal communities in the Jomoro municipality of the Western region with prevalent teenage sexual exploitation. Its vibrant shore attracts lots of town folks daily when canoes that go for fishing expeditions land ashore. On occasions where the fishermen have a substantial catch, teenage girls who come to the beach to beg for fish for their families' upkeep become the target of sexual exploitation, as every fish they receive from the fishermen is paid back through sex. As a result, teenage pregnancy and single parenthood are a common phenomenon in the community, with little being done by local stakeholders to address the situation. The practice is termed by indigenes as fish for sex, and this is confirmed by the Deputy Manager of the Jomoro Fisheries Commission, Irene Obing.
So due to that, and men manufacture advantage, then we sleep with you.
The girls are young, so the fishermen take advantage of the situation and have sex with them.
Well, that's Stanley Bleu's report, and it's time for M&J. Listen to this. Well, it looks like you're talking Valentine's Day today.
Yes, MFR, tomorrow is Valentine's Day. So today is like a pre-Valentine's Day something, you know.
Oh, okay.
So Joy FM, our superstation, is having proposal on Joy. And I've been speaking to Adam Naite on what everyone should expect. Let's listen.
Have not even seen pipe-borne water in the last 2 years. In some areas for 2 years.
Just like you rightly said, we opened for entries, and we were saying that if you have been seeing somebody for some time and you're planning to propose to them, why don't you let us, help you do it on Valentine's Day? Oh, we are expecting love, beauty. So we have partners who are supporting us to do this. It's happening at Labadi Beach Hotel, and this time we're setting up on the beach, Yes. We have Proposal GH.
Or the singles, it looks like you left the single ones out. Are they also invited? Who knows? Maybe someone might come there to find love.
Okay, so we did say that if you want to be there, you should send us messages via our numbers 05511119997.
Well, that's head of Joy programs.
Yeah, but there's something for singles, as she said. We just need to just pass by and just observe the couples.
This song comes to mind. Valentine is coming.
Where is your boyfriend?
And that's how we end today's edition of the Midday News here on Joy 99.7 FM. There's more when you log on to myjoyonline.com. I am Emefa Apau. Living Word with Pastor Mensa Otabil is up next. Have a good afternoon.